I wish I could tell you that everything went perfectly smooth, that I was able to strut my stuff and be like, hey, Taylor, it's the best son-in-law ever. Everything worked out great. But that's not true. Now, last Father's Day, I invited Troy over to my house to cook him an amazing Father's Day meal and really just hype him up because it's Father's Day. And I wanted to cook him ribeye steaks. So I bought these really thick, juicy, incredible ribeye steaks because every father deserves a Father's Day ribeye steak. I'm like the person who gives somebody their Christmas present 2 days in advance because I just can't hold it in. So I called them up and I'm like, hey, Troy, you won't believe it. I'm making you the best steaks. That's what we're having for dinner. And it was crickets on the other line for a really long time. I even thought that the call had dropped. He finally said something. And what he said was, son, I can't have a steak. Do you have like a Salisbury steak or something like that? And I asked him why. Why can't you have a steak? And he just changed the subject. And so I'm shocked trying to figure out what to do, what to cook. So I mean, who has Salisbury steak just laying around?
It's the next best thing to your good cooking. Swanson makes it good.
That's not something I eat. So luckily, my wife Ashley, she was able to make something within the hour of them driving. Fast forward, we're sitting together awkwardly at the dinner table, and I cracked a couple of jokes just because that's my personality and I really wanted to kind of lighten the mood. But then I finally asked the question that was on everybody's mind. Dad, why can't you have a steak? He looked at me and he said, I don't actually have any teeth in the back. The only teeth I have are my front four and my bottom front four. And none of us knew that except for his wife, Renee. He had been hiding it for years. The last couple of years, he's been doing extractions and just getting extractions because his teeth had gotten so bad. And what was shocking to me is that he knows that I work for a dental implant center. He knows that I work for them, but he never told me that his teeth got that bad. But what shocked me the most was what he said just after that. He said, Taylor, every man in the Cooper family has died before the age of 65. And these teeth, when I see them, it's just a daily reminder that my time is getting there. And he's 58. So I'm like all kinds of wrecked. This is my father-in-law. I actually love my father-in-law. I respect him. He's done so much for me in my life. And to see him believe this rotten way of thinking that he has to pass away before 65, it just burned me up. It made me so mad. And so I made it my mission before he left my house that night that I was going to convince him to get full dental implants at Nuvia Dental Implant Center, which is where I work. I asked him 3 things. I said, here's the deal. You need to give me your 3 reasons for not getting this done. And if I can solve each one of those, if I can actually make you feel like you're confident, then you're going to get this done. That's the deal. The first one is cost. And he's not a millionaire. So many people are not millionaires. I'm not a millionaire. And so it's got to be affordable. You can't just go and drop tons and tons of money. So what I gave him was a cost guide. We give it to everybody who's interested. It's a cost guide that kind of helps you knock down. Everybody's different, so the price is different for each person. So we created a cost guide and I give it to them. And I actually have the same cost guide that I gave to my dad. And you can either get that right here or you can get it in the description. Spoiler alert, it wound up being way more affordable than he thought, and even I thought. So we got the first one out. The second one was actually more important to him than the first. He could not take off of work months and months to get something like this done. And he knew that it took months and months because his brother 3 years ago got full dental implants, Glenn. And it took him about 8 months before he had his full permanent teeth. And he was in and out of that office, multiple appointments. I think it was 15, 20 appointments that he went to. And Troy was like, I can't do that. My work won't let me do that. I'm not going to take off that much time. And it's just, I'm not going to do that. And that was actually the most exciting thing for me to talk to him about because he didn't know The reason I chose to work at Nuvia Dental Implant Center is because they give you permanent teeth in 24 hours. That's all it takes. It's a one and done, game changing thing. They spent 10 years of research and development and millions of dollars so they can create this process to be able to give people permanent teeth in 24 hours. There isn't this waiting around multiple appointments. It's a come in, get surgery, 24 hours later, you've got your new permanent teeth, one and done. So I told him that, and he was like, I didn't know that. I didn't expect to hear that. I was like, yes. So we got two down. And the third one was the biggest fear he had, which was surgery. He was like, am I going to be awake during this surgery? And that's an extremely important one. Well, a lot of people don't know what he didn't know is that if you go to many providers, the surgeon, the dentist, the surgeon who's going to be doing your surgery, oftentimes actually has to do the anesthesia too. So what they do is they do the local anesthetic and they kind of numb you up and you're awake during it. The reason they do that is because otherwise they would have to hire someone to come in, a CRNA or an anesthesiologist, to come in and actually put you to sleep and monitor your heart rate and make sure that you're healthy throughout the procedure. And that costs money. And not all dentists have that or want to spend that. And so it's a little bit extra profit for them. I'm not saying that's true for everybody, but it's definitely true for a lot of people. I actually know a friend who went and to a different place, got local anesthetic. It wasn't a good experience for him. So what Nuvia does is we actually have a certified nurse. It is a CRNA, I think is what they call that, who is the person who's going to be putting you fully under. And that's what they do. They are focused on one thing, and that is making sure that you're healthy, making sure that you're fully under and everything's going smoothly. And then we have our surgeon who that's all they're doing is the surgery. They're not double tasking. They're doing one thing, making sure that you get the best possible care during this procedure. And then we have two, sometimes more dental assistants who are helping, and then a prosthodontist. And that's a special type of doctor who focuses on the teeth and how they're going to fit in your mouth and all that kind of stuff. So you have a whole team of people that are taking care of you on surgery day and you're completely under. So safety, number one priority, and you're completely under. He was not going to feel a thing. And so by the end of our talk, I had resolved all three of those issues. We booked him a consultation that night and he came in for his consultation and he was a candidate. He really needed this procedure. And this is where I wish I could tell you that everything went perfect. I wish I could tell you that I could strut my stuff and yeah, Taylor was great, best son-in-law ever, no problems whatsoever, and awesome. I put my relationship with my father-in-law on the line for this. And so I've seen hundreds of people personally get this procedure done, have an incredible experience, and it's been life-changing. But when you ask your own family to come and do this and trust you like this, there's a lot on the line. And so I was definitely had a little bit of anxiety because I want them to do the best to my father-in-law. I wasn't expecting this. In fact, what happened to my father-in-law is about, I can count it on one hand for the years that I've been here at Nuvia. I can count it on one hand how many times this has happened. And it just had to happen for him. So after he got out of surgery, he was very swollen. And he even told me, he was like, he looked in the mirror and he said, why, what have I done? Like, why did I do this? And I just told him, I told him what I tell those few people that have had this happen. Listen, the swelling will go down within 5 days. Like it's not going to last forever. It's not going to be as bad as you think. I know it looks bad right now, but it's not going to be a forever thing. And he was like, okay, but I will tell you this, 24 hours later, all the swelling didn't mean jack to him when he saw his brand new permanent teeth in his mouth. We took him to go eat his first meal, and he ate his first meal with, it was a pasta. It was a chicken Alfredo. He ate that first meal with his back molars, and he was crying. We were all crying. I was crying. He had actually had some heart issues for the last few years, some irregular heartbeat stuff, where he was really worried. It was part of what was making him feel like, hey, 65 is like my cutoff time. Every Cooper man has died before then. Well, he goes back to his cardiologist and he's like, your heart is perfectly fine. Like everything's good. And his belief is that because he took out those bad teeth, those rotten teeth were just poisoning him every day, slowly poisoning him. And it's directly tied. I mean, there's real studies now that show that your mouth health, your oral health is tied to your heart health. The number one killer in America today is heart issues. It's a heart attack. It's bad. The fact that him getting dental implants changed his whole health. He even said he felt it. He said, I felt it like the first day after, that I just felt different. It was everything I needed to hear. And so, and then the cardiologist, his doctor, told him that you're going to live far past 65, barring any kind of crazy incident. I thought he might not talk to me after surgery, but luckily we got good. We got right. The swelling went down. Everything was good. And I just want you to know, like, I know that I work for Nuvia. Here's what's real. I know that I work for Nuvia, and you might not, if you're like me, you're skeptical of anybody who's just repping the company, and I get it. But I'm telling you, it changed his life. And I know that I work there, but I was able to get my dad's life changed through Nuvia. There's a guy named Ricky who you can watch his video right here, who had him for 2 years, and he's going to tell you the real and the raw, the no BS, what it's like getting permanent teeth in 24 hours. So that's a really good video for you to see if this is something that you might want to do for yourself. And of course, if you want to know what this might run you, what's the cost, then get that cost guide. That cost guide, I'm going to put that at the top of the description. It's really helpful. It gives you more in depth of what I could give you, exactly what makes Nuvia different, how we do what we do, why we do what we do, and then exactly what that might look like as far as cost goes. And so look at it. It changed my father-in-law's life. I'm a big believer, and I know that I work for them, but I think I'm going to continue to work for them because it is truly life-changing. Hope this helps you.